And now I gotta make it up. I wasn't ready. Here we go. And now a 1-minute improvised riff about if Mountain Dew hired you to make a new flavor, what would it look like and feel like and sound like? Sarah Kennedy.
This is very important to go back a little bit. So when I was little, me and my friends used to play Power Rangers during recess. And I didn't like any of the like standard existing Power Rangers, so I invented my own. His name was Cody, and he was purple, and he had nunchucks. None of them had nunchucks at the time, and he used the already existing like Brontosaurus Dragon Zord. So I thought this is a pretty like efficient way to create a brand new character. So when I look at the current standing of Mountain Dew, I think of them as Power Rangers, right? So obviously, if you've got a Red Ranger, then we've got Code Red. We've got there is like a Black Mountain Dew that's like almost purple, but I think we can get purpler. Then there's Baja Blast. There's the full cast, and so I think that there's a way for us to look at some aspects of existing dew flavors and also some missing things, and then let's synthesize all that information into a new flavor. So I think a bright purple, like a purpler purple, that maybe has, like the flavor of a combo of Baja Blast and Code Red would be kind of a nice, they're the two most popular ones. And then also just like a fun name that we haven't quite nailed yet. So it would be called the Drink Attacker.
Okay, cool. I was gonna say I am gonna need a name even if it's a placeholder. Yeah. The Drink Attacker. It's not great, but perfect. Yeah, extra time done. I think it's Black Label. I think there is like a black label.
Black one, yeah, yeah, for sure. And then a yellow one, and yeah.
Black.
Well, is there a yellow Mountain Dew? Maybe I could have made it easier on myself and just been like, we take the Fanta, we put a new label on it, we call it Mountain Dew.
Who had the Brontosaurus?
Sunburn. He was just the extra one that they called when they needed like extra, even when he became like a big sword or something like that before. It was really, really early on before Tommy even had the dragon.
Okay.
It was like, I think maybe around twice, and they had a
yellow saber-toothed tiger, blue
was Triceratops.
Black was Mastodon. Pink pterodactyl. Red T-Rex.
Yeah.
And later we got saber-toothed tiger as well as dragon from green/white.
Yeah, because green-white.
There was no Cody. It seemed like they needed to have a character named Cody in there. All right, let's get started.
Okay, let's do it.
Welcome to the Goofball Coalition, the podcast that lives where improv and stand-up collide. And now, here's your hosts, Alex Knight and Sarah Kennedy.
Hello.
The Coalition.
Oh, hi.
It's the podcast where all the Dragon Zords become one guy who can fight the monster.
Yeah.
Yep. Cool. My name is Sarah Kennedy. I'm a stand-up comedian.
I'm Alex Knight. I'm an improviser.
And really, this podcast is about talking about the perceived rivalry, but actually stuff that improv and stand-up have in common. So
yeah. And today, I think we're going to have some fun. We have coming up for the show, the Albuquerque's longest-running improv performance. We have auditions coming up, open auditions for anyone in the community that wants to come on down. And so today we thought we'd talk a little bit about, I've got maybe nine rough little tips that I jotted down about how to be successful in an improv audition. And then I think anything that you can fill in about maybe the idea of not necessarily stand-up auditions, but we've talked about making tapes and stuff like that. I'm sure there's lots of parallels and similarities and overlaps.
Yeah, for sure. I think mine can be pretty simple, but I know that the people who are listening are probably really interested in finding out what it's going to take to nail that audition. So I'm excited to hear all 9.
I mean, these aren't official. These are just things I wrote down.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, let's just get started then. Yeah, here we go. Number 1, when you're doing like an improv audition, I feel like don't try to be in control so much of the situation, of the moment. Those best improvisers, and I'm sure comedians in general, excel at being in that flow. And I would say that what we're looking for in an improviser is someone that's good at repairing damage that's been dealt, not defending from the damage, if that makes sense. Like, let the mistakes happen, and then we want to see your beautiful brain make those mistakes not mistakes anymore, instead of trying to prevent and control situations or whatever. Let's see, number 2, don't push your points or be stubborn in our scenes and stuff. I mean, same thing. Like I'm sure in common and stand up, it's like don't beat that thing to death. People aren't with you or whatever. Don't drive your point or whatever. It's just that tension that gets built, I'm sure, between an audience, like if a stand is going some way and it's like they're not feeling it or whatever. So don't think you have a great idea and just like stick with it, change
Yeah.
it.
Bill Hicks has this rule, and we can go over this some other time too, but he has this rule where he says, like, you're not married to any of this. So like as soon as you're willing to like release it, the quicker something unlocks for you in the moment too.
Something fresh. Yeah. Right. Like comedy is so much about this moment between me and my audience, or me and my scene partner, or whatever, but me and my audience in a lot of ways. And like, yeah, that is the thing. And let's be aware of that. Let's not think that our piece of art is above the connection or whatever, as much as it seems like it is a lot of times. Yeah, your art doesn't matter. What matters is this moment here. And like, yeah, we can forget all that shit that we worked on in some ways and find something more beautiful right here, if we're good and we're present. I've just got love, kind, thoughtful relationships have so much more to like mine in improv. So often we put in conflict there because we think that's what we need. And it's scary to sit in real relationships like this that we have. Sarah's a weird specific relationship to, comedians that have been around, have been acquaintances for a long time and have doing a podcast together. Like what a specific kind of wonderful relationship that we could have lots of dynamics in if we're doing an improv scene instead of falling to our tropes of like anger and hating each other and stuff. Yeah. And like sometimes that love note though can be taken to like force relationships in terms of like romantic relationships, and like that can work, but that's also in some ways us working really hard to infuse stakes in our scene instead of like there's plenty again between our relationship here that isn't those things, and like we're able to talk for hours. So like you can find relationships that are more complex in our scenes. Let's see, I have watch out for steak razors, and I wonder about this in stand-up. So
tell me more.
So watching is the right word, hyperbole maybe. Ways of just raising the stakes. So I got a couple examples. So in an improv scene, it's like the cheese like got mutated and it's attacking and it's going to destroy the world. It's fine, but oh my god, the cheese is mutating in the back room and it's going to destroy all of Placidus or whatever. It's like so much more interesting when we put in like a grounded thing there. Like that's believable, more believable than the world. The world has like no stakes for us.
Sure. And like honestly, it's kind of one of those things too where like you're supposed to find the game in the scene, and so if you take it to the highest nth degree, there's no place higher it can go.
Right? Yeah, because then we can see a scene where it eats Placidus, and then it gets Albuquerque, and then it's Denver, and then it's whatever, and we can build, right? Yeah. Sometimes we'll just raise those stakes as high as we can really fast. Another one we say a lot of times in improv is like the best. This is the best. You're the best brother. You're the best brother in the world. And it's like, that's bullshit. But you can say, like, man, Cody, you're a really good brother. Like, there's just a truth to that we can like pull more pieces of. Why are they a good brother? But if they're the best in the world, like they better be. I don't know. It's like it's hard to fill in those stakes too, and it's disingenuous. Like I don't think, maybe I've told people they're the best in the world, but it like even saying it in my head, it feels like it was like not a slight, but not fully meant. Oh, you're the best, whatever. Where I'm like, hey, you're really fucking special to me. You're really important. Like that means more than the best.
That's interesting because I think in stand-up it's almost the opposite. You want to just like raise the stakes. So like you want to make things as recent as possible, as personal as possible. As like strongly tied to emotion as possible so that people care about what you're saying, and then you can get to the funny part faster. So
interesting. But that is like that is the difference in them kind of, is one is about slowly discovering a new moment and the other one is highlighting a moment that we've already figured out is important kind of. So we do want to pull out that stuff. Interesting. One that I do a lot in terms of stakes raising, I use the word fuck a lot. I love it. I will just throw in scenes to like, all of a sudden it matters. It means I mean something. And so it works, but it's a crutch and it's a bad habit. And so for me, that's mine. When I'm trying to raise the stakes, I'll just throw in some like, I don't know. I'll throw in some potty language to make it.
Well, I was going to say, just in general, how do you think like during auditions, if somebody comes in just like guns blazing and talking like a sailor, does that add or take away from
it depends if it's truthful, if that's who they are, then I love them because they're cut from my cloth or whatever. And they say the smart people cuss the most, right?
I heard that.
They fucking do. But it totally depends on the person. yeah, you can probably tell them to cool that off. Again, I'm the one that gives myself that note the most. I'm like, after the show, I'll be again. I said fuck a lot, so I can watch that. Voice raising's another one. Sometimes we'll just talk louder in our scene. Now it matters, and it's like, it doesn't though, because you're fake making it matter. Mm-hmm. So how can we, without using those skills, how can we find stakes within? Again, something like our relationship. There's ways that we can be, like I can't record today, like whatever. Like we can find dynamics that are, I don't know, we can find True. That. We don't need to build it so hard. Let's see. Next thing. Oh, this is an interesting one. Know when to be a character. Know when to be a character. And this is interesting. We have this sometimes in the improv show. We have certain games and pieces where it's like, I mean, we can always be anything. We can always be whatever we want. But there's certain times and certain pieces where we almost want to ground it and pull in some deeper kinds of improv. Like we have longer games like Slips or just scenic based improv games where we want to build actual relationship and like set a nice table and have a whole meal of improv, not just one-off comedy jokes or whatever. We've got line games when we're just literally making jokes. And then there's pieces where we do want characters, like we do, something like blues where we sing the blues. And if you've got a big blues character that like really needs to express themselves or whatever, like we can really have fun in those moments. So it's weird to tell someone like not to do a character, but like picking and choosing your battles of when to be like a crazy robot and when to be like a grounded stepmother or whatever in our scenes is something that there is no like one-to-one for sure when to do it, but like an awareness of that when you are, because the show hits so many different styles, specifically our show, but any improv show, like, yeah, we want to showcase all of your abilities kind of. So know when to do that.
I mean, especially in those games, in the pieces that you all do that where you're interviewing somebody and they're telling you like about their day and like their, the people that are in their life. Like if somebody can choose to bring some of those back, it can be a big win. That's a fun one.
Like not necessarily as grounded, but as somewhat as I don't know, word perfect. Mm-hmm. This person is describing their friend. Yeah, we don't want to see them super heightened. I want to be like, oh my God, that's Danny that she was talking about. That's fucking great. Yeah, so when can we pull on our best acting and when do we want to, again, just play with our craft and play with our paints or whatever. I've asked questions. That's probably a note for anything in life. Mm-hmm. Any job orientation, any new whatever, but ask questions, as a film actor or whatever. It's like if I go in a room, which rarely happens now it's all Zoomy, but like back in the day would be like, ask questions, ask them what they want, because I knew I was, and hopefully people coming to an audition are, like I just said, diverse artists that can give us different flavors and styles. And so it might not be a bad idea for any improv audition to be like, I mean, one would be probably do your research and be aware of the kind of work you're getting into. But at the same time, I think you can ask those questions because that shows that you are a craftsman in a lot of ways and that you know your stuff.
In scene or like...
Oh, sure. Why not? No, I think outside, maybe being like, what are you looking for here? Like, what do you want? And even if we don't have an answer, it just shows that you are at least thinking those things, I feel. I mean, not necessarily don't manufacture questions, because that's something I did see. We were told as actors to like ask questions about character, but sometimes I didn't have any. And I think certainly don't make up questions if you don't have them. But yeah, let's see. This one is a little dress for the job.
Yeah.
Dress for the job. I mean, the show we do dress up, not, I don't think come in a suit, but like dress a little nicely, because that's what you're going to be expected to. And that's if for any audition or anything, like you're showing what you will look like when you do the thing. So probably don't show up in shorts and sandals. I mean, Sarah doesn't like that, right? Don't like those.
No shorts on stage for stand-up, but
on stage. And then the last one I have, the last little note for this specific improv audition, but probably for any of them, is have fun. You gotta love this thing. If you don't love it, get the hell out of there. And within that, I have another one here, which ties into is like enjoy playing with people that are below you or whatever. Like find the fun in playing with everyone and not having your expectations so high. Like I love we have our improv jam, and I love playing with people that are brand new and they really throw me curveballs. It can be really difficult, but super, super fun. Going back to being a problem solver and like repairing things instead of defending them, just be like, wow, this person said that. How can I use my brain to calmly fix these things?
I always think that's a sign in stand-up too, that you're pretty advanced, is that like you can look at the show overall instead of just your 8-minute contribution to it. If you know what the person before you said, and if you can set up the person after you with something fun to riff on too, like now it's getting closer to that like magic moment where it does feel like it's something very unique and special for just that night and just that group of people. So
yeah, and it's yeah. I mean, improv. I think it's crazy to think that, I don't know, there is a way that this show tonight is gonna end and how it's gonna go. Like, we do want to have our lineups and all of those choices, but man, we definitely want any comedy show to be flexible and let it change dramatically. I mean, if anything, we've had not enough of that. Like, our shows that go pretty smoothly all of the time, and it is set up to allow shit to happen and for us to like pivot. Yeah, I don't even know what that looks like, but there's so many ways that, like, yeah, we all want to be flexible in all of our shows. Yeah, just don't try to do these things right. Come in and play and be loving, connect, all that stuff.
that's nice.
Yeah, do you have any questions about what, I don't know, if you were jumping into this thing?
If I was jumping into that, this would be a great, I think, at least give me the groundwork for how to just wrap my head around what I was about to go do. So I appreciate that. I won't be auditioning this year, but I do appreciate that y'all are doing it. I think auditions sometimes, like, I think it's like kind of like taking a test. There's really good test takers, and then there's just really good learners. And sometimes people who you would think would just absolutely be a great fit struggle during the audition. Is there a way that you can identify that, or is it really just like this is the
bummer? Going back to improv being like a thing of privilege, kind of, is also, yeah, improv doesn't always hit. Stand-up doesn't always hit. You might not be in the mood. You might not be able to create that art that day. Generally, I think most improv auditions happen in communities where communities know each other a little bit. And so there is definitely some grace of, like, if you've been to jams and people have seen you and know you're great and you didn't do good at that audition, it could just be nerves and stress. And, like, you definitely get a little bit of a pass there. That said, the show is very stressful. So we will see that pressure emerge. So whatever, terrible habits you have in that dangerous zone will not go away necessarily, but they can still be worked through or whatever.
Yeah, I've been watching Hacks, and then this new season, there's a thing where like Gene Smart's character very specifically was like, I just thought you had to be undeniable, and like you do, but then he, like, the person that she's talking to is like, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the case. So kind of the opposite too. Like, if you know that you just go out there and slay, and then for some reason things don't come together, there's a lot of luck involved in things, and there's a lot of like very specific to what the job is that determines things, and it can just, things can happen for a lot of different reasons.
Did you ever audition for an improv group?
I had one, because I took a class with Blackout, and then my team, Meth Lab for Cutie, we did a bunch of shows.
There we go. I forgot that you had one in there too.
Yeah, so it was fun. It was like me and John Cuellar, a boy named Brian, who I haven't seen in a long time, and then Chris Walsh. And we were all. It was fun.
But so no audition. You didn't audition for that. You just
no. We just had a lot of fun, and then we were like, let's do it. And then what was cool about Blackout at that time too is sometimes they'd be like, well, we just need somebody. Does somebody want to come and do? And we'd go and do some short form stuff. Because my favorite improv thing to do is, I love the one where you dub the person ahead of you.
Sure.
It's my favorite. My favorite. I think it's just magic when it all works out and it's chaos. It's really, really funny, even when it's kind of messy in the middle. And so we'd pick that one every time we get a chance.
We should have done that with you on that thing that we did.
Yeah,
but there will be other opportunities.
yeah, we'll do it
for the crossover night. The crossover, Freaky Friday. All right. Cool. And I guess I could say, like, the audition will probably be like, it'll be a lot of scenes, and then there will be some line games. So we'll work on your, like, quick-witted, stupid brain. We'll work on your slow, scenic brain, as well as some of these weird gimmicky things, like probably dubbing, where it's like, what happens if we put extra stupid pressure on top of your ability to do a regular improv scene? Yeah. So we'll hit all those things. And then another thing, a reminder, is the Thursday before. So that would be, our audition is June 22nd. And so the 20th, June 20th, we're going to be having at 7:30 at the theater, like a practice-y, like a free, like workshop-y thing to get everyone ready for that audition.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's nice. So when Leslie was here last time, she also talked very much about how, through taking so many classes and just having so many experiences in her career, she's just filled up a toolbox of tools that she can, like, kind of lean on or whatever. What do you think improvisers need, like, to fill up a toolbox for themselves?
Just practice. Yeah. Years and years of failure of, like, I play a lot of volleyball too, and I've been learning that. And it's like a ball will go into the net, and as a setter, my job is to like wait for the ball to hit the net, roll out of the net, wait patiently, and then pop it up.
Yeah.
But it took 15 times for that ball to hit that net and for me to be like, oh, I'm not there. I need to get there. And then next time I was there, but my arms weren't right. And then next time my arms were there, but that was wrong. And like, still don't get it all the time. But like, I had to learn that lesson like 15 times to even be medium okay at that thing. And for that lesson to happen, I needed to go to school and wait for that lesson. Like, and that lesson might not happen. It might not hit the net, but like, so there's just so many things that can go wrong in improv and stand up and shit. You just have to experience each one of them multiple times
And then get
to
the
start
muscle
to pull those tools. And then again, I think learning from different people in terms of improv, it's like get as many teachers as you can and see as many perspectives. And in terms of stand up, I'm sure it's watch as many stand-ups as you can or talk to stand-ups and figure out their processes. And that's, I think, how you start to build that toolbox.
But then, like, even in, I mean, if we take volleyball as an example, like you have to learn how to, you need to learn how to hit, like, to serve,
Sure.
and you need to know, like, probably how to spike, and like little, like, things that you're, like, wherever you are in the,
and you're constantly working on them. Like my hitting sucks, and my serving is like, yeah, it's right now. I'm like, I paused it. I'm like, cool, I can serve. It's not good. And maybe in a year or two, I'll go back and work on that project. But it's like we're spinning all these plates all the time when we're learning these crafts. And so it's, it's like an improv. It's like my hosting sucks, but like my scene work is good. And so like you're consciously always gently in the background working on these things and sharpening those knives, I think.
Yeah.
Makes
sense.
Yeah.
I have a how to be bookable graph that I draw for people sometimes. And I have it. I drew it. Can I show it? I'll share it with you.
Please
Ready?
Share it.
Ready for this?
Yes.
Here we go.
Is it just a big middle finger? Just a big middle finger says.
Wouldn't that be so funny if I was like, haha. This is also hilarious because, like, I don't know how many people watch us versus just.
Oh my gosh! Yes, so, this is what I'm looking for auditions too.
Yeah. So this is like really, and this is not just me saying this. This is like literally like been verified by multiple bookers across the country. It's like this triangle of this
is for booking stand-ups.
Yeah, obviously tippy top of the pyramid. Please be funny. That's obviously what we're all aiming to do here. And then, and then if you could be helpful and if you could be respectful and you've got all three of those things down, it's a no-brainer because you're doing the art that we need you to do. You're being, you're contributing to the show as a greater piece. And then you're also being a cool hang and a fun person to be around. So, and then what's cool about each of these things too is like, if you think you've got all three of these, then there's like a big circle around it where it's just like, now you just have to like prove it over and over again to as many people as possible. And then if there's any of these that you don't necessarily have 100% nailed down, then just zero in on some of that. And then, so when I think of like a comedian's toolbox, it's like if there would be bullets under each of these three things and you can nail all of them. So for funny, it's, have lots and lots and lots of jokes to pull from, lots of different ways that you can be funny. Like you can do roast jokes, you can do like all these things that the show may ask of you. You can show up and nail it no matter what. But helpful is also things like being a good host, which is something that you mentioned about improv too. And then it's also like if they need to put out chairs, helping move chairs, if they need to like, if you just stay and take pictures of the show during the show, that's helpful. If you share the flyer for the show during the week, that's helpful. All that kind of stuff is like really,
and you're part of the army in a sense. Like if you're gently pushing
you're in the community and you're
out there.
And especially if you're brand new to comedy and you're still working on the funny part of it, like the helpful stuff is the stuff that's like that you don't need, like none of that costs money or takes much more than just a willingness to be part of things that are going on. That's the same thing with respectful too, where it's like show up on time, stick to your time, like don't like shit on the venue, don't, you know what I mean, like don't ruin the audience for the people before or after you and that kind of stuff too. And it's also things like doing the assignment. So like if it is a roast and you just show up and you don't have roast jokes, it's like, well, that's disrespectful to the show, or like that kind of stuff too. So And then,
Well, and it's interesting. I would even say as simple, and I don't know for sure, but like as simple as like, don't let all of your shit be disrespectful comedy in a sense. Like if it's all
Mhm.
just racist shit, no. Not that all jokes have to not be racist, but like have the ability to be respectful. Like,
Yeah.
and almost what you're saying is like at a roast or whatever blue show, it's like, yes, you also can be irreverent, but like, do you have the ability to be respectful to almost any audience? Kind of, I would say,
Yeah.
is like a skill.
Yeah.
How can you like, without sacrificing who you are, how can you like sculpt your performance to fit anyone?
Yeah. And I've seen people who are the funniest people I've ever seen in my life absolutely destroy an audience, but then they're so disrespectful off stage that they just lose out on every opportunity because it's like, well, nobody's going to want to work with you because you're not respectful. And the same, and so all these things just help. It just all comes together, and you're a well-rounded, dedicated, amazing stand-up performer in the eyes of a booker if you've got all these things. So,
but that's huge. Like, I didn't even mention. I've talked mostly just about the mechanics of the audition, but like the helpful and respectful are like how you are navigating when you're not on stage at the audition, and like that shit definitely matters because we are hiring for the show, not just a performer, but like a family member. It's a very tight cast, and like we all love each other, and you need to fit in there in a lot of ways, and those ways are just by being helpful and respectful, I think.
Yeah, and it's also one of those. Yeah, like we. When I worked at Dion's and we would have interviews at the office, like they would have one of us like sit up in the front and cover phones.
Pretend.
Yeah. And then it'd just be like, if they were rude to you, it was like they were out. Like it didn't matter how they showed up for it. But it's the same thing with like people are disrespectful to Kelsey or Michaela.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah. So that stuff is so important.
It's like, and that's, I don't know, we've talked a little bit about this, but there's definitely like a theater aspect of improv for sure. And some of the times that might not trickle over to stand-ups. They might not have that training, but like it is a fucking team sport of like trust your back of house, your front of house, your stage managers, all that kind of stuff. And like even more so, again, sketch. A lot more of that in there. But yeah, I mean, the way I got into, I was with a theater company called Tricklock, and the way I got into them, I was in college and they had an old theater space and they were shutting it down and moving. I didn't know these people at all, but I was excited about their work, and I just showed up and I worked for a couple hours just helping them move shit. And like, yeah, like my embrace by them came from my helpful respect and like less to do with, I think, my talent, and like that stuff came later. But like, yeah, making that good impression, just being a good person that wants, like we said, loves this thing, loves stand-up, loves improv, wants to like contribute to the community and like share the flyers and make this thing bigger.
Yeah. It's all good. Any other thoughts?
No, not at all. Excited to see people come on out. Yeah.
That's awesome. I wish I could be a fly on the wall during those auditions. I'm sure they're a good time.
Yeah, they're silly. They're good. They have to be. We just have to keep that environment nice. It's terrifying. It's truly terrifying and uncomfortable to like make your art on the spot right now for people and have it be funny, but also be good and be, but like there's so many, all of the plates that we just talked about that you're spinning, all of a sudden they all come to the forefront. It's like, fucking do it. But going back to, if I had a volleyball audition and I went out there and I was so focused on like, when the ball hits the net, I got to scoop it out, like I'm fucked already. I can't worry about it. I have to trust that like the lessons have been learned, they're in my bones, and I got to love the sport or love the game and like go out there and it'll show for sure.
It's like a practice hard, win easy kind of thing, where it's like, I think about that sometimes when I get into festivals too, where it's like practice hard, win easy. So it's like, if you, like I got into a festival a couple weeks ago and like, I couldn't be nervous there because the nerve-wracking part was when I submitted for it. Like I already did, you know what I mean? Like you go.
Yeah, they said you are good enough.
Right.
So you're good enough.
Right. And so the same thing with the audition. Like if you're there, the hard part was all the work that you've done to learn how to improvise. Yeah. And then now you just get to go and just like, ta-da.
Yeah. Trust that it's in there. I tell that to my students all the time. It's like, we work so hard on like specific exercises that put in this like scaffolding in your brain of like how to do a scene to make it work or whatever. But then as soon as you're out there, like forget about it. Trust that stuff is like in there. It's like baked in you now. We can kind of hopefully not worry about it.
That's good advice.
Cool. Hey, thanks. That was fun.
Yeah, let's go to segment 3.
Let's do it. All right.
Is segment 3.
We take a sip and we get into it.
Yeah, exactly. So Alex, what you got? I mean, so we got the auditions coming up. We always have second Saturdays, which happen down on Second and Gold, and we get the food truck out.
Yeah.
Y'all do a blue show. We do an open mic, and then Alma brings down the house with that variety show. So
good time.
Anything
Besides
else?
that, nothing. I'm just doing our regular shows, coaching a lot. I'm coaching. I'm about to start coaching a two-prov group of gentlemen that want to do some improv together stuff. So it's been fun. It's been fun. Like I said, I was teaching runaway kids, so I'm like getting to teach all of the aspects of improv, like the highest level of two people that want to like focus on the craft and dedicate a lot of time and energy, and then kids that are like, I'm gonna get pizza, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. It's been fun to like share the craft on all of the kind of tiers of its existence.
Yeah, that's the best.
What about you? Anything special? How was that show? Tell us real quick about that show that you went to.
Oh gosh, it was so good. Which one? The festival?
You just recently go to the festival?
Yeah. I was in Limestone in Bloomington, Indiana, and
talk about
it. I have submitted for it for a decade, and every year it's been like nope, or I've been on like waitlisted or whatever, and I got into it this year, and they had over 500 people apply, and they only had 50 slots, so like pretty crazy odds.
That's good math.
And it was very cool. I got to open for Roy Wood Jr. in the big theater show that they had, and then they have this really amazing gay bar.
I thought that was Royal Wood when I first saw it too.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, could be. It's
very close.
Yeah. But then, they have a gay bar called The Back Door that has a really cool stage, and I got to do a show there. And then it's just really cool to kind of hang out with all of these comedians from across the country that are like killing it. You know what I mean? Like I talked with the guy who does the Columbus Don't Tell comedy shows, and I had been running the Albuquerque Don't Tell comedy shows, and just hearing his best practices and being able, like I could glean from that and like be able to apply them here was like the best. And so then people were, from New York and LA, and then we had an industry panel, and they knew how to ask these like higher level questions that I don't think I've seen asked in different industry panels before. And so just so much, like it felt like being in an honors class. It was really cool. But
how did that go?
Good. I think I had 2 sets, and they ask you to do 2 completely different 10 minutes. So like I tried not to repeat. I think I repeated 1 joke just because it helped me branch into 2 completely different sets.
Yeah.
But it was, that was really, really fun. And the guys who run it are really amazing people who I've known for a really long time too, and just in different contexts. And so getting to connect with them again and just seeing them do their work that they've now done for 11 years was just really inspiring, and it made me excited for the Funny Fiesta. So
cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I just always, I need to go to more improv festivals, because it's as sometimes nerdy as it is for us all to get together. It's like so nice to talk shop and to like, again, like you said, like see other people's work and like pull from them. Because I'm sure in both worlds, it's like not that people are like, I do it this way, like don't fucking look at my work. It's like, do it this way. This really helped me out. Like we got a lot more work done when we implemented this or whatever. And
and it sounds cheesy, but like literally everything I do for comedy, I immediately just think like, how can I bring it back to Albuquerque and like share it and make sure that Albuquerque has all the same stuff that everybody else gets and deserve, like, that they deserve it just as much. And so going out and coming back, and like it feels like going and like fetching water and bringing it. So like getting to do that kind of stuff is always my favorite.
Super important for us to see as much as we can outside of our communities. Definitely.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Friday and Saturday nights downtown. Come and check us out.
We'll see you there.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Bye, y'all. Thank you so much.
Bye.